What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to Dungeon Defenders Awakened in my revisiting in 2023. Next up, we are going to take a look at two heroes in one, and that is the Monk and the Huntress. Now, the Monk and the Huntress both play important roles and are extremely powerful on an individual basis later on in game. As you're making your way through the game, each one is going to be really best served in a supporting role. With that in mind, we're going to get support in on both of these, and we'll alternate the play back and forth between using the Huntress and the Monk actively. Now, first off, taking a look at the Huntress defenses, we've got the Explosive Trap. The Explosive Trap is a physical defense, does AoE damage, and hits very hard. This is one of the bread and butter damaging defenses from the Huntress. Now, one challenge you get on the Huntress and the Monk early game is you see 17 charges. Both of these, or all of the traps and the auras, cannot be destroyed. However, they can run out of charges, and that is the big pain point of using these two heroes early on, as it does become a bit of a high maintenance repair job running around and keeping these traps and auras repaired up to full. Now, every trap has two different radiuses. You see the obvious red and orange indicator on the floor here. That is the trigger range. Then you see the larger exterior perimeter. That is the effective range, meaning that an enemy would have to get onto the trigger range to set the trap off, and then everything in this outer perimeter will be affected. So in this case, if we get just this first target dummy into the trigger range, both target dummies are going to be taking damage every time that trap goes off. So important to note your effective range and your trigger range in traps, because this determines exactly how you build the defenses out and how you build out each individual map. Now, one of the strongest defenses that the Huntress has is the Poison Trap. The Poison Gas Trap is crowd control. It is a straight up stun. It is crazy powerful. Now, this one has low charges as well, but you see this one actually has a duration. So this one's going to last 16.5 seconds, and once this trap goes off, it's going to continuously channel for 16.5 seconds at my current gear set. Next up, we have the Inferno Trap. The Inferno Trap is a burn or a dot type effect that's going to cause damage over time. This one as well has a duration. So once it triggers and goes off, it is going to channel for the entire length of its duration. Any enemies that are in the effective range will take that burn damage. Next up, we've got the Poison Dart Tower. This one was brought into the game from Dungeon Defenders 2. It is a typical tower type defense. It does shoot out poison darts. Now, this will be effective at hitting multiple enemies. However, it is going to target a single enemy, and then any darts that stray will hit multiple enemies as it comes out. As you see, it is firing 3 darts, so we're getting 3 different projectiles landing, and potentially could even hit 3 different targets. And then last but not least, the Thunder Spike Trap. The Thunder Spike Trap is the Huntress's big boy single target damage. Oh, it hits hard, but it only hits one target. You see it's hitting for 47,000 a whack, so, I mean, it puts the slap down, there's no doubt about it. However, only 11 charges, and it's only hitting one target, meaning we're going to want to use this in a way where it's not going to be going off constantly, and we're going to be saving this for the thicker mobs. Now, with all those things we just learned, we want to be careful how we place our traps. Instinctively, people will want to just go with one big trap stack and throw everything down, and situationally end game, you can indeed do that. However, that is not going to be your best use. So let's build everything off of the gas trap. Now the gas trap we know is a stun, and then we know it also has an effective range that is bigger than the range of the targeting area itself. Meaning we want to make sure that any enemy that's stunned, like say an enemy is stunned right here, if we have our traps stacked like this, the enemy that's stunned right here is not going to be triggering the explosive trap. Now, with that in mind, you want to make sure to separate these traps out. If we take a look at the effective range of the gas trap, we would want the targeting range of the explosive trap to be inside of that. So if an enemy does get stunned out here, it's still going to be able to set off that explosive trap and cause damage to the pack as it gets stunned up. The poison gas traps are crazy effective, and no doubt at some point in your experience playing through Dungeon Defenders Awakened for the first time will be completely defining for you and will kind of make the switch for if you are winning or losing maps. Now, additionally, we've got the Monk. Now, the Monk and Huntress combined have one of the greatest power combos in the game. That is the gas trap, the poison gas trap, and an Ensnare Aura. It gives you the best of both worlds for crowd control. The Ensnare Aura, of course, is going to give us a slow, and the gas trap is going to be a stun. So slow enemies will slowly make their way up, and then once they hit the gas trap, they are going to be completely shut down and stunned from that point. So an absolute power combo. Once again, this is a meta combo that you will use throughout a lot of your play. Towards endgame, once you gain massive amounts of power, you no doubt will only find really the need for using like one of them, like maybe just the Ensnare Aura. However, the combination of the two is just insanely strong and something to really be looked at by every single player in the game. Now, additionally, the Monk has the Electric Aura. Now, the Electric Aura gets real good, but boy, it doesn't get real good until much later in game, as it definitely needs gear. It is very gear dependent. Once you get that gear, you're going to be able to use an Electric Aura to completely melt down everything in a lane except ogres. However, early game, it's going to be tough for you to get that functional. Then we got the Healing Aura. I mean, it goes without saying, it heals. So anytime you're in like a boss fight or a situation where you're going to be taking a lot of damage, the Healing Aura can always be a good thing. Next up is the Strength Drain Aura. The Strength Drain Aura is another one that is arguably quite broken mechanically in the game. First off, it's going to strip enemies of any of their elemental resistances. So, for example, I've got a poison gas trap. That's not a very good example. Let's throw down an Electric Aura as well for a better example. I've got an Electric Aura here, so it's already not doing a ton of damage. So if an enemy with electric resistance rolls up in here, it's going to have 90% reduced damage, so which means that Electric Aura that already is not doing a ton for us is going to only hit for 10%, making it completely ineffective. Now, the Strength Drain Aura will strip enemies or nullify the attunements of enemies and cause them to take the full damage. Now, additionally, the Strength Drain Aura is exactly as the name. It is a Strength Drain. As you see, by default, I think I've got no power into this Monk at all. Yeah, I've got no power. So by default, it is a 25% Strength Drain, meaning that enemies inside the Strength Drain Aura will do 25% less damage. So an absolutely powerhouse of a combo combined with an Ensnare Aura that not only slows enemies, but makes enemies also swing slower, combined with, say, a wall. This will make your walls live damn near forever, as it reduces the amount of damage that wall is going to take by just a absolutely considerable amount. And then last but not least, we have the Enrage Aura. The Enrage Aura is exactly that. It enrages enemies. Enrages enemies, causing them to stop moving and attack other enemies. This particular aura can be quite powerful. As you see, it only enrages weaker enemies, so it's not going to enrage an ogre. However, an Enraged Orc or Goblin, per se, will cause an Ogre to turn around and hit it. So it is still effective crowd control, even though it can't directly affect like the Ogre in question. This is a completely meta defense for people that are trying to push super high in survival. Absolutely extremely powerful, and as you get further into the game and get lots of mob density, this can completely just shut down a lane. Now, what about endgame? What do we strive to get our Monk and Huntress to? Well, as active DPS characters, both characters are just insanely powerful. The Huntress provides a massive amount of damage output. The Huntress's ability, Adrenaline Rush, increases attack rate, which means you just got machine gun fire when you pop it off. This makes you do a just insane amount of DPS and allows you just to shred through enemies. So what is the Huntress's weakness? Well, the Huntress is a little bit on the squishy side. That Adrenaline Rush also increases the jump height, and that will allow you to kind of bob and weave and dodge enemies to stay alive. So the Huntress is super squishy, yet super powerful in an endgame situation. Now, what about the Monk? Well, the Monk is the ultimate team player. The Monk is a tower booster and a hero booster. Now, by itself, the Monk can put out acceptable damage numbers. However, it's going to be lower than all of the raw DPS classes. However, every team wants to have a Monk. Two different reasons. First off, if you're playing a tower boosting build where you're stacking lots of defenses together, the Monk's tower boost is absolutely incredible, and you can get the uptime on this to 100% just by actively boosting any defenses in the area. Now, additionally, when it comes to those boss fights, a Monk's hero boost is just absolutely incredible. It just shreds through packs of enemies by making all heroes inside of the boost range, including the Monk, hit exceptionally harder. So the hero boost and the tower boost make the Monk just the ultimate team player in the game. Now, since we're combining these two heroes into one mini-series, this one is going to be a 6-part instead of a 5-part. This episode being part 1 with just the introductions. So looking forward to jump in and getting some Huntress and Monkage action going. We're going to continue where we left off in Act number 3. So we're going to get through Act 3, and then we'll start our next hero back over again in Act 1, as I do want to focus this series for the newer players and the new player experience. Any veteran Dungeon Defenders Awakened players that have already been playing the game that may return to the game still for split screen and cross saves, you already know most of the things we're discussing in these videos. However, a brand new player is going to get a little tip or trick each time through these particular mini-series. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.